Hey there. Which legendary Pokemon have appeared in the most regions? Let me explain why this is interesting to me. Pokemon fans have had to grapple with a certain problem for a long time. It's multiple legendary Pokemon of just one species existing and appearing in different regions, often ones they seemingly don't belong in. Short answer to multiple legendaries of one species existing, they procreate. You can't make them procreate in the games because that would kind of defeat the purpose of very rare legendary Pokemon if you could just make more, but I strongly believe they're able to, even if they don't have a gender. But anyways, that's not really what this video is about, but I'm glad we cleared that up. So, legendary Pokemon are always tied the most to the region they got introduced in. But some of them can be found all over the place, in regions they have no legends written about them. But see, that's the first mistake, thinking that a legendary Pokemon is only legendary in one region. Because of the way Pokemon games are made, each one being set in a different location, mostly focusing on the cool new Pokemon, it seems like each region has a very separate pantheon of legendaries. But GameFreak always makes an effort to include all legendary Pokemon too. Just not enough of an effort to actually make them feel like they belong there, but they are there. Because they are main characters of the Pokemon world. When you buy a Mario game, for example, you're always getting the full Mario experience, with all the beloved characters. When you buy a Pokemon game though, you're not getting that. At least not until the post-game and or DLC. It's clear that Pokemon wants to focus on the new, but then also sneak all the beloved mons in somewhere. But even outside of this very meta development stuff, in universe, it also kind of makes sense for legendaries to be in lots of regions. As I said, legendaries have their mainstay, usually wherever they are worshipped the most, but at the end of the day, they're just the most powerful and important Pokemon in the Pokemon world. They're quite literally the faces of Pokemon. And that's another reason they get a lot of attention in one game, then none in the next. Because they had their game, and now it's time to shine for another legend. And that's actually a great time to segue into the data. I looked at all the legendary Pokemon found in each region, and kept track of if they were included in that region's dex or not too. And it showed that most of the Pokemon found in multiple regions were sub-legendary Pokemon, better known as the ones that aren't on the cover. The most worldly being Moltres, with 6 regions. Ho-Oh and Lugia, 2 cover legendaries, do appear in 4 different regions, but they are only included in the Johto regional dex, whereas sub-legendaries are often included in other regions' dexes too. So everything pretty much as expected, right? Yes, this makes a lot of sense for the games. But in universe, I imagine that it would actually be the stronger main legendary Pokemon that travel the world and are known all over the world. Just my 2 cents in there. There are some groups of sub-legendaries though that are stuck in their own region, because they really do only make sense there. Those are the Galarian legendary birds, Alola's guardian deities, and the ones from Scarlet and Violet, because they haven't had a chance to appear in a lot of other places. Though, even if they did, I doubt they'd be found anywhere else, because they are very linked to Paldea and Kitakami. Mythical Pokemon are also very unlikely to be catchable in different regions, because they're just very unlikely to be catchable in any region at all. Mythicals just live somewhere out in the world, maybe implied to live in a specific region, but still, you're just getting them from Mystery Gift most of the time. I'm gonna put all the data I wrote down on the screen right now, so you can look around for yourself. But not for long, because we're making a tier list, baby! So here it is. In the highest tier we've got the legendary birds, which are spread across Kanto, Johto, Sinnoh, Kalos, Paldea, and in Moltres' case, the Sevi Islands and Johto too. Plus, there's all the other legendaries that are also included in multiple regional dexes and are found in other regions they don't have entries in too. None of the later additions to these groups are here, that's Regieleki, Regidrago, Keldeo, and Amores, There aren't any split decision ruins in Hoenn, for example, but realistically, these Pokemon could be found anywhere. I should also mention that in making this tier list, I didn't count any legendaries found through Hooper Rings, Ultra Space, the Max Lair, which Pokemon are also implied to be from Ultra Space, or the pure and strange spaces accessible from Ramana's Park. Because I'm asking which legendaries have appeared across the most regions, not which region has portals to other dimensions where legendaries can be found. I also omitted most of the Paradox Pokemon, because they too come from different dimensions, but mostly because I wanted to keep this list a little shorter. In the tier below, we have all the legends that are tied the most to one region, but still have appeared in others too, even if they weren't included in those regions' dexes. We've got Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, which is technically a cover legendary, and of course Ho-Oh sticks by their side too. Though, interestingly, Lugia wasn't with the legendary birds, but that connection is very weak in the games anyways. Then some notable ones are all the Pokemon tied to the creation of the world, so Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, Uxie, Mesprit, Azov, and Regigigas too, though I've always thought that that guy's contribution to the creation of the world might be a little questionable. Arceus itself, though, is only ever found in Sinnoh, so he's not in this tier. Other than that, there's a bunch of other just very strong Pokemon that like to travel the world, Urshifu, which, fun fact, isn't even native to Galar, and the Steeds without Calyrex, which I guess are just strong horses, they can go wherever they want. Next, there's a very small tier. These are Pokemon that have dex entries in 2 different regions, and that's it. We haven't seen them anywhere else. They're just so cool that anywhere they go, they're immediately adopted into the regional dex. Zygarde's here, but not the rest of its trio. Xerneas is in Lental, New Pokemon Snap's region, but I only counted mainland games for this. Lore-wise, Zygarde's cells and cores are spread around the whole world, so that all makes sense. And then there's everything else. You can look for yourself. I already covered most of the interesting stuff about this tier when talking about the others. Some of the Pokemon really only made sense in this tier, like the Galarian legendary birds. We haven't seen Mew in any of the game's regions, just on a little island off the coast of who knows where. And then there's a few legendaries that, while very tied to the region they originate from, we could probably see them in other regions in the future, like Xerneas, Yveltal, Zacian and Zamazenta, Calyrex, and Koraidon and Miraidon. Because I'm repeating myself, but they are very strong main characters and integral to the Pokemon world. So it only makes sense that legendary Pokemon can be found all over the world. To recap, the Pokemon in the highest tier, while rare, aren't bound to any location and travel the world a lot. The next tier includes a lot of very important, godlike Pokemon, and they all travel the world quite a bit, but if you're searching for them, I'd recommend looking at a specific region. Pretty much the same with the next tier, you just have a little more options when it comes to the region you want to find them in. And in the lowest tier, we have all the Pokemon that haven't been catchable in any other region but their home region. These are generally more hidden away than other legendaries. If you are able to see these in any other region, then go buy a lottery ticket, I don't know, or don't if you saw Eternatus. Bye!